Right now, somewhere beneath the mountains of North Korea, a nuclear weapon is being assembled. Not in a factory, not in a building that a satellite can photograph. In a tunnel. A tunnel carved so deep into solid granite that the most powerful non-nuclear bomb ever built by the United States military cannot reach it. The tunnel is one of an estimated 8,000 underground facilities scattered across North Korea's mountain ranges. 8,000! The United States has located perhaps a few hundred of them. The rest are invisible. And every single one of them could be hiding something that can kill millions of people. Here is what almost nobody in mainstream media is telling you clearly. The United States military, which can put a missile through a window from 1,000 miles away, which can destroy an entire air defense network in 72 hours, which has spent more on defense in the last 20 years than the next 10 countries combined, does not currently have a reliable way to destroy what North Korea has built underground. Not because the weapons do not exist, because the mountains are too deep, the tunnels are too many, and the targets are invisible until it is too late. By the end of this video, you will fully understand exactly why, how deep North Korea's bunkers actually go, why the weapon America built specifically to destroy them has a critical flaw, why finding the targets is actually harder than destroying them, and why the military option that every American president since Bill Clinton has kept on the table may be the most dangerous bluff in the history of modern warfare. Let us start with what North Korea has actually built, because the scale of it is almost impossible to comprehend from the outside. North Korea began its underground construction program in the 1960s, with significant Soviet and Chinese technical assistance. Over 6 decades, the program has grown into what military analysts describe as the most extensive underground military infrastructure on the planet. The estimate of 8,000 underground facilities comes from a 2017 assessment by the Korean Institute for Defense Analyses. That number includes command bunkers, missile storage facilities, artillery positions, troop shelters, weapons factories, and nuclear-related sites. All of it underground, all of it inside mountains. The Korean peninsula is approximately 70% mountainous terrain. North Korea's military planners did not just use those mountains as cover, they turned them into weapons. The standard North Korean military tunnel is not a simple hole in the ground. It is an engineered facility carved through solid granite at depths ranging from 100 meters to over 300 meters below the surface. The entrance is typically a reinforced concrete portal built directly into a mountainside, designed to withstand blast overpressure from a near miss. Inside, the tunnel branches into multiple chambers, each sealed by massive blast doors weighing several tons. The facilities have their own power generation, ventilation systems, water supplies, and communications networks. They are designed to function as fully self-contained military bases that can operate indefinitely while the surface above them is being bombed into rubble. North Korea calls this strategy asymmetric deterrence. The translation is simple. We cannot match your Air Force, we cannot match your Navy. So, we went underground, where your Air Force and Navy cannot follow. Now, here's where the weapon comes in, because the United States was not unaware of this problem. In the 1990s, as intelligence about North Korean underground facilities began to accumulate, the Pentagon commissioned a specific weapon to deal with them. The result was the GBU-57 Massive Ordnance Penetrator. The name does not do justice to what this weapon actually is. The GBU-57 is 20 feet long. It weighs 30,000 pounds. That is 15 tons. A fully loaded pickup truck weighs roughly 2 tons. This weapon weighs more than 7 fully loaded pickup trucks. It contains 5,300 pounds of high explosive in its warhead, and it is designed to penetrate reinforced concrete and solid rock before detonating. The Air Force spent roughly $330 million developing it. Only the B-2 Spirit stealth bomber can carry it, and each B-2 can carry exactly 2 of them. In testing, the GBU-57 can penetrate approximately 200 feet of reinforced concrete, or roughly 130 feet of moderately hard rock, before detonating. Those are impressive numbers, and they are also, when compared to the depth of North Korea's deepest facilities, completely insufficient. The most sensitive North Korean nuclear facilities, the ones where weapons-grade material is processed and stored, are assessed by American intelligence to be at depths between 300 and 700 meters below the surface. That is between 1,000 and 2,300 feet underground. The GBU-57 penetrates 130 feet of rock. The math does not work, not even close. The Pentagon has been aware of this gap for years. The response has been to study the possibility of using multiple sequential strikes, dropping one GBU-57 into the hole created by the first to achieve greater depth. In testing, this approach has shown some promise. In practice, against a real target buried under a real mountain with unknown geology, the results are unpredictable. Rock does not behave like reinforced concrete in a test facility. Granite can redirect a penetrating weapon sideways. Underground water can absorb blast energy. The tunnel architecture, with its multiple branches and blast doors, is specifically designed to compartmentalize a detonation and prevent it from propagating through the facility. There is a second problem that is arguably more fundamental than the depth issue. Finding the targets. The United States has one of the most sophisticated intelligence gathering systems in human history. Satellites that can read a license plate from orbit, signals intelligence networks that intercept electronic communications globally, human intelligence networks operating in some of the most denied environments on the planet. And yet, American intelligence assessments of North Korean underground facilities openly acknowledge that the locations of the most sensitive sites are unknown. Not suspected. Unknown. North Korea has spent 6 decades developing what intelligence professionals call denial and deception techniques specifically designed to defeat American surveillance. Workers and materials move at night. Tunnel entrances are disguised as civilian structures. Underground railways connect facilities so that materials and personnel can move between sites without appearing on the surface. The exhaust from underground ventilation systems is filtered and dispersed to prevent thermal detection. Vehicles that serve nuclear facilities use the same routes and schedules as vehicles that serve farms and factories. The camouflage is not primitive. It is systematic, layered, and has been refined over decades of studying American reconnaissance methods. In 2010, North Korea showed American nuclear scientist Siegfried Hecker a uranium enrichment facility at Yongbyon that American intelligence had not known existed in its current form. A facility with over 2,000 operational centrifuges, built and made operational without American intelligence detecting the construction process. Hecker later described it as more sophisticated than anything he had expected to find. The centrifuges were modern, well-organized, and clearly the product of years of undisturbed work. American satellites had been flying over Yongbyon for decades. They had not seen it. If North Korea could hide 2,000 centrifuges at a location the United States was actively watching, consider what may be operating at sites nobody is watching at all. This brings us to the cost equation that drives everything in this story, and this is where the numbers become genuinely shocking. North Korea's entire annual defense budget is estimated at approximately $3 to $4 billion. The United States spends more than that on military facilities maintenance alone. And yet, the cost of the solution North Korea has built to defeat American military power is almost laughably asymmetric in the other direction. A tunnel costs roughly $1 million to $10 million to construct depending on its size and depth. The United States has spent $330 million just developing the weapon designed to destroy tunnels, and that weapon cannot reach the deepest ones. Each B-2 bomber that would carry the GBU-57 costs $2.1 billion to build and over $130,000 per flight hour to operate. North Korea can build a new tunnel for less than the cost of one B-2 flight mission. The ratio is almost identical to the one that defined the Strait of Hormuz crisis. A $1,500 naval mine that took $89 million to repair the damage it caused. A tunnel that costs $5 million to build versus a $330 million weapon that cannot reach it. The cheap weapon wins not by being more powerful, but by being more numerous, more hidden, and more replaceable than anything the expensive side can afford to use against it. Now, here's the part that should make everyone deeply uncomfortable. For 30 years, every American administration has publicly maintained that a military option remains on the table regarding North Korea's nuclear program. Presidents Clinton, Bush, Obama, Trump, and Biden have all used that phrase. It implies a credible military alternative if diplomacy fails. The military reality is that this option is not credible in the way the phrase implies. A strike on North Korea would not be a clean surgical operation. It would destroy the facilities America can find and reach. It would leave intact the ones it cannot find or cannot reach deep enough. And it would almost certainly trigger an immediate North Korean artillery barrage on Seoul. 10 million people 35 miles from the border, within range of an estimated 10,000 artillery pieces aimed at specific targets in the South Korean capital. Military planners estimate that in the first 24 hours of that response, Seoul could suffer casualties in the tens of thousands. Some assessments go considerably higher. The city has no realistic evacuation plan for a scenario that begins with zero warning. Its subway stations double as blast shelters, but they were designed for a Cold War-era threat, not for a sustained artillery barrage from 10,000 guns firing simultaneously. And that is before accounting for North Korea's surviving nuclear capabilities, the ones in the tunnels the strike never reached. This is the trap. Striking North Korea does not eliminate its nuclear program. It eliminates the parts America can find, which is not the same thing. The underground construction program that Kim Il-sung began in the 1960s was built around a single strategic insight. An enemy that cannot find your weapons and cannot reach them, even when it does find them, cannot credibly threaten to destroy them. The tunnels are the mechanism that guarantees survival, and the tunnels are working exactly as designed. The United States has stealth bombers, bunker-busting bombs, and satellites that no other country can match. And it is looking at a mountain range in one of the poorest countries on Earth, knowing that somewhere inside are nuclear weapons it cannot find, cannot reach, and cannot destroy, without triggering a catastrophe that kills tens of thousands in one of its closest allies. The weapon is in the mountain. The mountain is winning.